Hey everyone, welcome to this solar eclipse sidereal astrology forecast for the solar eclipse on Saturday, December 4th, 2021. All right, so we have a solar eclipse in deep Scorpio. If you're expecting me to say Sagittarius just then, be sure to check out the link down below for more information. We are using the visible sky on this channel called True Sidereal Astrology, and it does change the signs from mainstream astrology. All right, so solar eclipse, the beginning of a new lunar month, but a very important one, and because it involves the nodes. So in this case, a south node, new moon is a solar eclipse in this case, and so a new beginning with our life path. Now the south node deals specifically with releasing things from past or past lives, karmic patterns, repeating patterns, cycles, and so it makes it a very important time to really listen, because the south node is a very yin energy, and it's very much about releasing these kind of karmic wheels, if you will, or these patterns, if you will, for that transformation. And Scorpio is very much about transformation in and of itself, so it's a great time to just listen, see what new arises here in the context of what's empowering, what's transformative, right? What's going to help us do the things that are most deeply meaningful to us in life, face fears to make that happen, to connect to life and ourselves and our relationships in a deeper way, right? Scorpio is all about excavating the truth, getting to the surface, bringing things to the surface for that embracement, really, inner and outer wise. All right, so with this, we have a conjunction of Mercury, which is quite common with new moons. So there could be some great things to learn during this. Great new beginning also with perhaps communication in this deeper context, especially with Scorpio and Ophiuchus. A trine up to Chiron, so maybe some healing energy supporting this, sextile to Saturn, and some other things. So let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here's the chart for the solar eclipse. It will be here at the end of Scorpio, visibly in the sky. But as you can see here, we are using very uneven constellations, which is very different from mainstream astrology. Essentially, we're using the actual size of them as seen in the visible sky, so they're actual locations. But unfortunately, mainstream astrology does not use that. In the West, in fact, they use a completely different system based around the seasons. So if you are new to this form of astrology, if you're used to mainstream astrology, definitely check out the link down below for more information on true sidereal astrology. All right, so fundamentally what we have here is a new beginning to the lunar month, but we would say, especially because it's an eclipse, in the yearly sense as well, because we are dealing with a pattern that involves the moon, which is a monthly energy, and the sun, which is a yearly energy. So new beginning, and by itself, the new moon is supposed to be a yin time. It's supposed to be a time of listening. It is the lowest energy phase of the cycle. It's just the very beginning of the cycle. So it's coming from the trough and then starting to go upwards. So this makes it very yin in and of itself, but especially because it is a south node eclipse. The south node is yin energy, deals with things we're releasing and letting go for that transformation. And Scorpio is a yin sign. All about connecting to the deeper realms of life. So a lot of yin energy going on here. I feel like it's extremely important to, as we approach the eclipse, to do a bit of a reset, maybe complete some things from the previous cycle, maybe get some space, some alone time, especially around the eclipse. It makes it very powerful for meditation and just listening to see what new arises. And then, of course, throughout this lunar month and the solar year, these energies will gain more and more momentum. But it's very important to listen, especially because it's an eclipse, a very spiritual time, and in this case, a very karmic releasing one, because it is a south node eclipse in this case. All right, so that's going to be great to approach it. And then around this, Saturday time period, great time to see what arises from this, right? What is being transformed, because all these energies are very much gearing towards transformation. So it is going to be a very partial eclipse. Astrologically, as you can see, the new moon, which is right here, for those of you who can see towards the end of Scorpio, is very far from the south node, which is at the beginning of Scorpio. Total eclipse would be when these are very close to each other. So it is in a sense a bit partial, but nonetheless still very important. And the South Node in this case is very much about seeing, are there some patterns? Are there some repeating patterns that we have from this life or even from past life? And not to judge them, not to change them, not to do anything with them, but to simply bring that awareness to them. Because these things are trying to be released. Okay, these are patterns that we've held on to consciously or unconsciously. They're kind of stagnating our life path in a sense. And so very important to just be aware of them. And in this way, then they express themselves, these patterns, in their highest expression, right? And then these sort of things that are maybe more stagnating are actually a gift. And this is where the South Node is all about reconnecting with our past or past life energy, in a sense of reconnecting with our roots, where we come from, and our natural gifts, natural abilities from past or past life. And so great to see that, but again, fundamentally, it's that conscious awareness, which then naturally the healthier qualities of these patterns start to emerge versus trying to make it happen. You know, the South Node energy is anytime we try to pursue something with it, it gets blocked. And it can also be the area where there's a lot of discontentment, where we think things are missing or lacking in some way. So it's yin, and it's all about accepting and making peace with how things are or are not in our life, especially with whatever arises during this eclipse, to again take that yin approach, acceptance, making peace with it. And then in that way, it liberates us from those cycles. And then we start to actualize the highest expression of the healthy qualities of this. Now in Scorpio, collectively, this is going to be very much about excavating the deeper elements of life. What really matters at the end of the day. Scorpio rules life and death. It rules deeper relationships, intimacy, trust, right? It rules the hidden realms. So psychology, research, the esoteric, the occult, the hidden, right? So fundamentally, Scorpio energy is always a good time to reconnect with this side of ourselves. So again, because it is an eclipse, it is South Node, there are some qualities of this that might be imbalanced, right? Imbalanced Scorpio might be needing power, needing to feel like we need to be in control of a situation or something like this in life, to be afraid and then to respond in a very primal or attached way. And this is, of course, very natural, and it's okay. And this is the whole point of the South Node, is to, again, accept these qualities of ourselves. These are qualities we all have, as the power hungry, the attached, the afraid, right? So again, it's about accepting it. But from this, then these qualities, these unbalanced qualities of Scorpio, then come up to their highest expression, which is reclaiming our true power, right? That by being non-attached, by accepting things, again, yin energy, even with Scorpio, by accepting things for how they are, it's extremely empowering, right? When we accept our worst fears, right? It's empowering. When we accept death, right? These things that we're afraid of, these deeper aspects of life, as we embrace them, accept them as a part of ourself, as a part of our experience, then it transforms us. And I think that's really what Scorpio is fundamentally about. And this is where the true power comes from. It's personal empowerment. You could see there's true self-power, not the ego power, but the true self-power, right? Or closer to the true self-power. So a great time of empowering ourselves. Again, facing or embracing fears, empowering ourselves through action, or just, again, throughout the cycle, through action right now, just listening, but empowering ourselves towards facing things, right? Reclaiming sides of ourselves. And be doing some of that healing, acceptance of ourself and our experiences of life, letting go of the power, the ego sense that then leads to true power. All right, these are the kinds of things that we're dealing with collectively. Now, of course, you can always see where Scorpio is in your chart sidereally. So, you can always check that out. Whatever your rising sidereal sign is, just count from there. So if you're in Aries, then that'll be the 8th house, for example. And that'll give you more specific information, but collectively it is about that deeper Scorpio energy. All right, and so a conjunction to Mercury. Now this is very natural. Mercury is always close to the sun, so it's very normal. I would consider this a more minor aspect. In fact, I would consider really all of these minor aspects with this eclipse. And so Scorpio is close by though, so it is a great time of seeing if there are some things we can learn. Mercury is very much about mental energy, so not just see what arises spiritually, but maybe try to conceptualize it, contextualize it, put it into practice, apply it, make sense of it. Obviously within reason, but that could be very good, especially with Mercury starting to get into a fucus for the coming weeks. It's very good to maybe start to work with these deeper realms, not just to become aware of them, but literally work with them. That's what a fucus is all about, working with the deeper realms, which then helps us transform and heal. Fucus is the healer, but also the serpent bearer, the person wielding the deeper elements of life, working with the deeper elements of life, such as, for example, through healing, as one example, that can be very, very transformative, very empowering. And this could be, of course, physical or spiritual or mental or emotional type of healing, where minds are going into this understanding of what can be embraced and transformed. Now, I did mention in the weekly videos that there's a square up to Neptune, and I did misspeak on that because it's technically not a square if you do use the 8-degree orbs, which is what we typically use in the West. But nonetheless, it is, you could say, still somewhat of a square because it's extremely close to the square up to Neptune. So to some degree, and I think this is especially important approaching it because we're going to have the square going exact before the eclipse, is that it's important to really surrender what's outside of our control. Again, it adds more yin energy. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Pisces is water, just like Scorpio. It's very much about surrendering what's outside of our control, being willing to go a little more with the flow, to accept things for how they are or are not, right? And in this way, it becomes very constructive. So really it's just emphasizing more of what we spoke about earlier. But if there is anything constructively you want to do with this new moon that does involve maybe spirituality, or bringing more peace into your life, or doing things that are more soul-fulfilling, I do feel like that is a minor element to it as well. And I would say it's probably a little more than minor because of the fact that Chiron is trining this eclipse, and Chiron is in Pisces, Neptune's sign. So there is that energy already. Good to heal through that acceptance and going with the flow and doing what's important to us on a soul level. But Chiron specifically is the healing energy, is the ruler of a fucus, so it's supporting this eclipse, which is great. The ruler of this part of the sky is supporting this. So the healing and all this, we have a lot of support to do so throughout this. And again, any intentions around healing physically or spiritually is great. Now there is a sextile up to Saturn, so there's some at least openings. Sextiles are more of just openings for groundedness, this willingness to see the bigger picture. And so anything that does require time, patience, perseverance could be on the supportive elements with this. Anything we do want to achieve or accomplish during this new moon, as the energy starts to build, I think we do have a supportive elements with that at least available with Saturn and Capricorn here. And a very minor quincunx up to Uranus, just as a reminder that Uranus is squaring Saturn. So a lot of this yearly energy is about doing things that are important to our true self and creating change and freedom in our life. So anything that is, again, about change, transformation, freedom, these kinds of things could be good to challenge ourselves with. Quincunxes tend towards the more challenging side. It holds the frequency of the 6th and the 8th house, this aspect. But good to set that intention, bring in some healthy Uranus. And with Uranus and Aries, it's that true self, right? Individual self-expression, independence, change, freedom, things like that. All right, but fundamentally, as you can see, a lot of this is all pointing towards the same area, which is transformation of the South Node and this eclipse in Scorpio. All right, everyone, so that is the aspects, and I do want to mention, of course, that the rulers of Scorpio are in different locations. So if we take the traditional ruler of Scorpio, which is Mars is in Libra. So as a reminder, where we're taking action, what should be very good to pursue during this lunar month is balance, right? Mars in Libra is all about putting action towards what is fair, what is right and just, not just for others, but for ourselves, and not just for others, but between others. It's a good time of seeing what is the balanced approach, right? And that's more on the interpersonal side, which usually tends towards Mars. But personally, what are some actions we can take to just bring more balance into our lives in general? And if there's any areas out of balance, this can be an excellent new beginning to readjust those things into balance. And with Pluto and Sagittarius, a lot of what's transforming for many years has been our perspective in Sag, right? Collectively. Our spirituality, our view of life, our philosophy, our outlook, our perspective has definitely been going through a transformation collectively. And so this is another step in the right direction with that. Anything that feels like an empowering change of perspective or perception, and anything that maybe feels like might be adventurous or free-spirited in your life, that is, transformative for you, can be excellent to do that. And with Venus getting close to Pluto, there is that, from Pluto's perspective, there is the support from Venus to do it, since Venus is a benefic. But maybe some transformations in those relationships as well. Again, this Scorpio is a bit of an interpersonal sign. And, depth, intimacy, trust, deep connection there is great for empowering ourselves with. All right, everyone. So that is the solar eclipse in a nutshell. Put simply, this is very important time of transformation, being aware of, and through that process releasing past patterns and cycles, and from there reclaiming this personal power and empowerment and transformation, connecting to what really matters most in life. I didn't mention too, with the North Node in Taurus, what grounds Scorpio is Earth, is nature. It's the natural world, it's food, it's the things that ground us. If you look at the shaman's always grounded in nature. Shaman is about healing. It's very deep, intense Scorpio energy, but you can't do that healing stuff and deeper stuff, without being grounded and in nature, and using things like maybe food or herbs or nutrition, things like this. So that's a grounding point. And just the grounding fundamentally with Taurus is our self-reliance and our inner strength and our resourcefulness. We got to be rooted and grounded in order to transform and change, healthfully and constructively. So that's good as well. All right. So everyone have a fantastic solar eclipse. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a newsletter where you do get these videos released first, as well as other content not normally released on YouTube. It's a free newsletter, so check out the link down below to sign up. But have a great one, everyone. Thank you again, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.